Hey everyone, welcome back to Edu Expert, your smart learning hub. The recent incident aboard the U.S. Navy warship USS New Orleans shocked many observers, not because it was the result of enemy action, but because it came in the form of a sudden and dangerous fire. At the time of the incident, the ship was operating near Okinawa, Japan, carrying out routine duties, when a section of the vessel unexpectedly caught fire. Within moments, thick smoke and intense flames began spreading across multiple compartments of the ship, forcing the crew into an immediate state of emergency. Sailors quickly responded according to their training, activating onboard firefighting systems and organizing damage control teams, but the fire proved too intense to contain with initial efforts. The situation escalated to the point that normal ship operations were suspended entirely, and all focus shifted to extinguishing the blaze. According to Navy sources, the exact cause of the fire has not yet been officially determined, though early speculation suggests it may have been linked to a technical malfunction, equipment overheating, or an electrical fault. The severity of the situation was highlighted by the fact that it took approximately 12 hours of continuous effort to finally bring the fire under control, a significant duration in naval firefighting standards. During this time, the U.S. Navy requested assistance from nearby allies, and units from the Japan Coast Guard and the Japan Self-Defense Forces joined the efforts, providing critical support in containing the blaze. Despite the intensity of the fire and the risks involved, only 2 American sailors suffered minor injuries, and both were quickly treated before returning to duty. While the USS New Orleans avoided catastrophic damage, the incident served as a stark reminder that even the most advanced naval vessels are vulnerable to accidents. It also emphasized the importance of training, preparedness, and rapid response in ensuring the safety of both the crew and the ship during unexpected crises. Once the fire aboard the USS New Orleans erupted, the ship's crew launched into one of the most critical and intense firefighting operations in recent naval history. Naval warships are equipped with advanced damage control systems, but in situations like this, the real difference is made by the discipline and training of the sailors on board. Within moments of the alarm being raised, multiple teams were dispatched across the ship to contain the flames. Sailors donned firefighting gear, sealed off compartments to slow the spread of the fire, and activated water and foam suppression systems. The smoke inside the confined spaces of the ship made visibility extremely poor, forcing crew members to work in extremely hazardous conditions. According to official reports, the fire spread across different sections, which made the operation even more complicated. As the blaze raged on, it became clear that the crew alone would struggle to fully extinguish it, especially with the risk of the fire reaching sensitive areas such as ammunition storage or fuel systems. Recognizing the potential danger, the U.S. Navy requested immediate assistance from nearby allies. The Japan Coast Guard and the Japan Self-Defense Forces responded quickly, sending firefighting vessels and support teams to aid the New Orleans. Together, they launched a coordinated effort that lasted nearly 12 hours. Firefighting hoses were deployed both inside the vessel and from supporting ships on the outside. The operation was carried out with extreme caution, as excessive water inside the ship could have destabilized the vessel, while failing to control the blaze could have caused catastrophic damage. The collaboration between the American crew and their Japanese counterparts proved vital. Their combined efforts eventually subdued the flames, preventing further damage and saving the ship from what could have been a total loss. By the time the fire was officially declared extinguished, fatigue had set in among the crew, many of whom had been battling smoke and flames without rest for hours. Yet, their determination and discipline paid off. Only 2 sailors were reported injured, and both sustained minor injuries that did not prevent them from resuming duty shortly after. This operation was hailed as a textbook example of damage control and Allied cooperation at sea, showcasing how preparedness, training, and strong partnerships can prevent a disaster from turning into a tragedy. The condition of the crew during and after the fire aboard the USS New Orleans is perhaps the most important part of this story, because it highlights not just the physical toll of such an incident, but also the resilience and professionalism of the sailors involved. When the fire first broke out, the crew was immediately thrust into a life-threatening situation. Onboard a warship, confined spaces, narrow corridors, and interconnected compartments mean that smoke and flames can spread very quickly, endangering everyone on board within minutes. Despite these dangers, the sailors responded with discipline and calm, following their extensive training in damage control. They quickly organized into teams, with some fighting the fire directly, others working to seal compartments, while medical personnel prepared for potential casualties. During the 12-hour firefighting operation, conditions were extremely harsh. Many sailors were exposed to thick smoke, intense heat, and the constant threat of the fire spreading into ammunition or fuel storage areas. Even in these dangerous circumstances, the crew continued their work with determination. According to official reports, only 2 sailors were injured in the entire ordeal, and their injuries were described as minor. They received medical treatment on board and were able to return to duty, which was a significant relief for both the Navy and the families of the crew. What stood out most was the crew's resilience. Despite the fatigue of working for hours under extreme pressure, they refused to give up until the fire was brought completely under control. After the flames were extinguished, the crew immediately shifted focus from firefighting to stabilizing the ship, checking for structural damage, and ensuring that no hidden hotspots remained. The psychological stress of such an event cannot be understated. Sailors are trained to expect combat, but an uncontrollable fire at sea is one of the most feared emergencies on a ship. The fact that the USS New Orleans crew not only contained the disaster but also kept casualties to a minimum speaks volumes about their readiness and courage. This incident reinforced the idea that the human element remains the most critical factor in naval operations. Advanced technology and weaponry may make a ship powerful, but it is the bravery, discipline, and teamwork of the sailors that ensures survival in the face of disaster. The crew of USS New Orleans proved that they were more than capable of meeting this challenge head-on. After the fire aboard the USS New Orleans was finally extinguished, one of the biggest questions facing the U.S. Navy was the extent of the damage sustained by the ship. Fires on naval vessels are among the most dangerous incidents precisely because they can spread into critical systems that keep the ship operational. Even after the flames were brought under control, there was immediate concern about whether the vessel had suffered lasting structural or mechanical harm. Initial reports indicated that the damage was serious but contained. The fire had affected several internal compartments, and smoke had spread far beyond the areas where flames were most intense. This meant that sensitive equipment, electronics, and ventilation systems may have been compromised. Inspectors and damage control specialists began a thorough assessment as soon as the ship was stabilized. Their goal was to ensure that the vessel remained seaworthy and to determine whether it could continue its mission or would need to return to port for repairs. While the full scale of the destruction has not been publicly disclosed, officials emphasized that the crew's quick action, and the timely assistance from Japanese allies, was the key factor that prevented catastrophic damage. Had the fire reached ammunition magazines, fuel storage, or propulsion systems, the USS New Orleans could have faced a far worse outcome, possibly even rendering the ship inoperable. For now, Navy sources have confirmed that the vessel remained afloat, stable, and under its own power following the incident. This indicates that the ship's core structural integrity and propulsion were not fatally compromised. However, long-term repairs will likely be needed to replace damaged equipment, clean smoke-damaged compartments, and ensure the vessel is fully combat-ready again. Such repair work can take weeks or even months, depending on the severity of the damage. The incident also raises questions about the ship's readiness for future operations. While the New Orleans avoided destruction, the fact that such a large fire broke out during routine deployment highlights the risks faced even in peacetime operations. Naval experts note that the vessel's survival demonstrates both the effectiveness of its design and the skill of its crew, but it also underscores the need for continuous maintenance and safety checks. In the end, the fire caused disruption and damage, but thanks to quick action, the USS New Orleans was saved from what could have been a devastating loss.